Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Tammy Slaton tells Jerry she's pansexual. He asks what that means. Tammy Slaton has teased she has a big secret to tell her boyfriend Jerry for a few episodes now. Truthfully, fans have become frustrated by this lingering tease. Fortunately, we won't have to wait or speculate on the big secret anymore. Tammy finally spills the beans on what she's been hiding from Jerry tonight. This article contains spoilers from Season 2, Episode 7 of 1000 LB. Sisters, if you haven't watched the episode titled Jerry Bites Back, yet you may want to exit this article. Tammy's big secret. She's pansexual, Jerry doesn't understand. During their first official date, Tammy tells Jerry she has something to talk to him about. She explains she has a secret, something he doesn't know. Viewers can see her hands' visibility shaking. She's scared to tell him. Jerry reassures Tammy. She can tell him anything. Tammy Slaton puts on her brave face. And she tells him. Tammy Slaton explains that she's pansexual over dinner. She admits she held off on telling him because she wasn't sure what he would think. She was scared he would not love her anymore after he knew the truth. Jerry is noticeably baffled by the information. He admits that he really has no idea what that means. Asks for clarity. So, Tammy proceeds to explain what pansexual means. At least, what it means to her. She admits she didn't know about this type of sexuality until she spoke to a friend. Up until recently, she thought she was just bisexual. So, what does her sexuality mean exactly? Amy Slaton and her husband Michael were also at this dinner. Amy recognizes how important it is for Jerry to know about Tammy's sexuality. She, however, admits she also had no idea what pansexual meant at first. Truthfully, she thought it meant Tammy just had a thing for pans. Like cooking pans. Amy thought it made sense at the time. Tammy fell backwards laughing because she thought it was crazy. Tammy Slaton explains that being pansexual just means you love everyone. Love is love. To her, it doesn't matter if someone is a man, woman, or if they are transgender, or anything else for that matter. She loves people for what is inside. It was after a friend explained pansexual that Tammy realized she was not actually bisexual. Noticeably, Jerry seemed a little troubled that Tammy was open to being with someone who was transgender. But he ultimately accepted her sexuality, told her that it didn't bother him or change how he felt about her. In the world of 1,000-pound sisters, relationships are often just as heavy as the scales that define the Slaton sisters' journeys. Fans have watched Tammy Slaton struggle through heartbreak, health scares, and a long, winding road to self-acceptance. But one chapter that continues to linger in fans' memories is her complicated romance with Jerry Sykes. A man whose charm initially masked his inability to handle the weight, both literal and emotional, of being in Tammy's life. Now, as Tammy continues to evolve into a healthier, more independent woman, whispers have begun circulating that Jerry might be feeling pangs of guilt, or even temptation, to reconnect. But according to sources close to the situation, Jerry Sykes isn't ready for the responsibility of caring for Tammy Slaton, and deep down, he may never have been. A relationship built on uneven ground. When Jerry first appeared on 1,000-pound sisters, fans were skeptical. He seemed easygoing, supportive, and at times even playful, but there was an uneasiness beneath the surface. Tammy, desperate for love and stability, clung to Jerry's affection like a lifeline. But as the months went on, it became clear that the relationship was built on shaky ground. Jerry wasn't prepared for what dating Tammy actually entailed. Beyond the obvious physical challenges, Tammy needed emotional support, consistency, and a partner who understood her struggles, not someone who would retreat when things got difficult. And Jerry, already juggling complicated personal issues, including a secret marriage that fans later learned about, was anything but ready to commit. Jerry wanted to be seen as the good guy, one insider shared. He liked the attention, the cameras, and the idea of being supportive, but the reality of being with Tammy was more than he could handle. Tammy's needs outweighed his intentions. Caring for Tammy wasn't just about being a romantic partner. It meant being part of her daily battle. Her life was a constant balancing act between medical appointments, emotional breakdowns, and the slow process of regaining her independence. Jerry's occasional visits and words of encouragement weren't enough. At that time, Tammy's health was in crisis. Her weight was spiraling upward, and she was struggling with depression. What she truly needed was someone patient and grounded, someone who could help her make real lifestyle changes. Instead, Jerry often enabled her worst habits. He'd bring fast food, make excuses for her behavior, and soothe her pain with comfort instead of accountability. Fans could see it happening in real time. Tammy's health declining while Jerry smiled and told her everything was fine. "It was a toxic cycle," said another close friend of Tammy's. "He didn't know how to help her, and instead of stepping up, he just stepped back." Jerry's own inner struggles. Behind the scenes, Jerry wasn't in a good place either. His own life was marked by instability. With family drama and personal issues piling up, Jerry found himself emotionally drained. Being with Tammy only amplified his struggles. Suddenly he was under the microscope of reality TV, public judgment, and Tammy's demanding emotional needs. Those who knew him say Jerry cared about Tammy, but not in the way she needed. He felt guilty walking away, but he couldn't keep pretending to be something he wasn't, a source explained. He's not built for the kind of life Tammy requires. He wanted affection and excitement, not hospital visits and rehab schedules. It's a truth that's hard for fans to swallow. For many, Jerry represented a turning point in Tammy's story, a relationship that forced her to confront how much of herself she was willing to sacrifice for love. Tammy's transformation changed everything. Fast forward to today, and Tammy Slaton is almost unrecognizable, physically, emotionally, and mentally. After undergoing bariatric surgery and committing to her recovery, Tammy has shed hundreds of pounds. She's breathing easier, walking more, and smiling brighter than ever before. Her humor, once buried beneath layers of pain, has resurfaced. But as Tammy reclaims her life, Jerry seems stuck in the past. "He's reached out a few times testing the waters," said one insider. But Tammy doesn't have time for that anymore. She's focused on her future, not someone who couldn't handle her past. Has made one thing clear. She doesn't need a caretaker anymore, she needs a partner. And Jerry, even now, isn't equipped for that kind of role. He's been seen bouncing between odd jobs and social media silence, apparently avoiding any public association with the 1,000-pound sister's legacy. "He's embarrassed," a source claimed. He thought walking away would free him, but seeing Tammy thrive without him was a reality check. Still, he knows deep down he couldn't handle being responsible for her, then or now. Fans weigh in. The fandom has not forgotten Jerry's time on the show. Opinions are divided. Some blame him for enabling Tammy's worst habits, while others think he was simply overwhelmed. Online discussions often frame Jerry as a symbol of everything Tammy had to outgrow: toxic relationships, poor self-worth, and misplaced loyalty. "Tammy was always the one putting in the emotional labor," one fan wrote on Reddit. "She needed someone to push her toward growth, not someone to keep her comfortable in her pain." Another viewer commented, "Jerry might have cared, but caring isn't the same as being capable. He wasn't built for what Tammy was going through." Moving forward without Jerry. As Tammy continues to embrace her new chapter, sharing weight loss milestones, reconnecting with family, and even teasing future romance, Jerry's name feels like a distant memory. But in a way, his inability to care for her was part of what propelled her transformation. "Sometimes losing the wrong person is what makes room for the right one," Tammy once hinted in a cryptic TikTok post. "You can't expect someone to love you right if they don't love themselves first." Those words hit harder knowing Jerry's history. His absence, once painful, has now become empowering. Tammy doesn't need to be cared for. She needs to be celebrated. The final word. Jerry Sykes isn't a villain, but he's also not a hero. He's a man who found himself in a situation far beyond what he was ready for. A relationship that demanded maturity, patience, and strength that he hadn't yet developed. Meanwhile, Tammy Slaton has grown into her own hero. Through heartbreak, hospitalizations, and hard-won victories, she's proven that self-love is the greatest form of care there is. So when people ask if Jerry Sykes might ever come back into Tammy's life, the answer is simple. He might not be ready now, and maybe he never will be. Because Tammy no longer needs someone to take care of her. She's learned how to take care of herself.